please. Hold, 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 please.
Hello, babes. Hi. Welcome to another Bella After Dark. Usually we talk on this channel about skincare, makeup, all the good things. But on Thursday nights, we delve into some grown folk stuff. We talk about relationships. We talk a little bit about, life, grown folk stuff. And occasionally I bring you a story time or two. Tonight, we are going to do both. We're going to be talking about toxic relationships and why people are still entertaining this in 2024. For the life of me, I don't know why. I don't know how we have come around to this topic yet again, but I wanted to dive into it. I know we talked about it a lot on this channel. When it comes to male-female relationships, we talked about toxic parents, we talked about toxic friends. But this time around, like I said, I'm going to be doing a story time and telling you a little bit more about something that recently happened and then bring it into the conversation that we're going to have tonight about why this continually happens and how to recognize those red flags when you see it and stop it before it even starts. So as always, I want to welcome everybody to the channel. Hi, babes. I see a few of you are already here. Welcome in. I see my Titi is here. Hello, Titi. Welcome in. And I want to say hi to Ray of Sunshine. Welcome in. Welcome in. So I have a little game that I wanted to play for you guys as I get into the story time. And I pinned it at the top of my comments in the chat section, but I'm going to show it on screen now. And that is, how many red flags are we going to throw up tonight? So every time I am telling you something and you hear a red flag in that tale, I want you to go to the emojis and find the red flag and throw up the red flag in the chat, because when we get to the end of the conversation, before I wrap up and say goodnight to everyone, I want to count and see how many red flags we actually are able to spot in this episode tonight. So sit back, relax, grab, your favorite beverage, your favorite snack, because this is going to be a good one. This is really going to be a good one. So check and see how many red flags we're going to throw up tonight. And I want you to throw that red flag in the chat when you hear that red flag. Where Sunshine says, uh-oh. I know, right? I know. All right. So to ground us before I begin with my story time, I wanted to talk about what toxic masculinity is and why it's so harmful. So the definition is a term that's used to describe socially destructive aspects of masculinity that can negatively affect and impact men, women, and society. It is a set of social guidelines and attitudes that are often associated with manliness, but can have dangerous consequences. The term doesn't imply that masculinity is inherently bad, because it's not, but rather that certain behaviors and ways of thinking can be harmful. The topic refers to aspects that are socially destructive, like misogyny, homophobia, violent domination, and the like. So what I'm going to be talking about is those types of topics and those types of red flags that we hear, when we're talking to maybe our girlfriends, or we're just having kitchen table talk about the latest celebrity or what have you, but you see it all the time. The latest was P. Diddy and his toxicity, right? The things that he did with Cassie, with Kim, and even, going back to the beginnings of his relationships with women, how he just distributed and exhibited all of this toxic behavior. So now I'm going to tell you a little story. Unfortunately, it's a true-ish story. I say true-ish because I don't know her, but I do know the person that she's talking about. I do know him, the topic that we're talking about. And this has been a reoccurring theme with this person. And although I'm not directly related to this, I've heard this topic and I've heard these themes consistently come up with this person, that I feel that I just need to call it out. And then like I said, we've seen other, toxicity within men. And I'm going to tell you about another story that's going around YouTube. Some of you may have heard it. Some of you may have not have heard it. I was on one of my friends' live streams yesterday, Sugar Love. She's a fixture here and I love her. And Sugar Love was talking about this guy. Not the guy that I'm talking about, but another toxic man. And although the person that I'm talking about hasn't gone to that extreme, there are parallels in both stories where I feel that I need to just call it out. I'm a straight shooter, pa-pow, pa-pow. I always tell it like I mean it and say it like I mean it. And I'm always shooting straight. And I feel that in 2024, we need to stop this. We need to call it out when we see toxic behavior. Men, especially when you see this in other men, you need to call it out too. It can't be all about us calling it out and us saying, it's bad. But again, I keep seeing this recurring theme with this one person. And these women keep calling him out on social media to the point that the behavior doesn't stop. The behavior doesn't change at all. There's no introspectiveness with this person. There's no accountability. And when you look at people who have children, children who are, adults and going on to college, as well as younger children that he's raising in this life, and you have that person who is so toxic, that women are constantly calling him out on stuff, you need to take stock of your life and you need to figure out a way that you can deal with this behavior, whether it is talking to a professional or, just taking stock and making a change. It's not fair to women. It's not fair to, the children who have to grow up around you. It's not fair to, the people who are, in your friend circle who, are friendly with you, to be associated with such toxic behavior. It's really not fair. So let's get into the story time. And as I said, when you see a red flag, when you hear it, throw up that red flag. We're going to count it off at the end and see how many red flags we threw. I'm going to start off by saying this young lady had been dating this guy for 2 years. And as she accounted her story, she starts off by saying, they met outside of like a lounge spot or what have you. And, he spotted her, she spotted him, and they kind of hit it off. I guess sparks were flying to the point where she gave him her number first time. That's happened. You meet a guy, he meets you, you like each other, you want to, maybe take the conversation further and you give him your number. So she gives him her number. And then a couple of days later, they're like calling and texting each other. Out of the blue, within the first 2 weeks of seeing each other, he wants to come over to her house. And she gave him her address where she lives, and he came over to her house. Now, she was, in loungewear because she was, doing stuff around the house. And so she was very casually dressed. She didn't have on, any bra or whatever, but she knew this person was coming. So you would think that, she would change into something a little bit more, appropriate or proper or what have you. But I'm not here to police anybody. I'm just here to recount the story. So as it was recounted, she was scantily dressed. And yeah, here we go. Thank you. First red flag. And, and he comes over. So they're talking, probably making some sexual innuendo because, he sees, how she's dressed, and, he makes a comment about, her breasts and the fact that, they're very large and they're in her house and she's not wearing a bra. So of course, men are going to be men, they're very visual. And when you are coming over to somebody's house, or when you're having company over, you would think that you would, dress, like I said, appropriately. But again, this is how she wanted to dress. This is how she wanted to approach the situation. Now, just meeting him and just bringing him over to the house. So again, they're talking, they're having a good time, probably kissing or what have you. I don't know. But days roll on, and the next week, he might get into a situation and he calls her up and says, hey, listen, I'm in a situation, I'm in a financial bind. Can I borrow money? Now, remember I said that they have just started talking, right? This is a very, very new relationship. They are talking. He's been at her house one time, and after that, he's calling her up, asking her for money. To me, that's another red flag. But we'll continue. So he asked her for money, and of course, she turned him down. She's like, no, I just met you, blah, 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 blah. I don't feel comfortable, XYZ. Thank you, Ray. Because I was like, did y'all not hear me? He's asking for money. Hey, Mitchie, welcome in. Yeah, that's the next red flag. So he's asking for money. So she says no. Fine, no harm, no foul. They continue talking. And then he gets into another bind and he asks her for money again. Less money than he asked her before, but he asked her for money again. This time it was something, like he needed a bill paid or something like that. Now this is a grown man. We're not talking about, teenagers. We're not talking about, young people in their 20s. We're talking about grown folks, who have lived, okay? We're talking about that type of grownness where he's mature, she's mature, we're of a particular age, and you're calling up this woman asking for money. Then his birthday rolls around. And so she's like, hey, it's your birthday. What do you want for your birthday? Blah, blah, blah. To me, I wouldn't have given him anything for his birthday. But again, I'm telling you the story. So you guys throw up the red flags when you hear a red flag. Hey, Michelle, welcome in. Nice to see you, Soror. So hang on. Hey, I see you. Thank you so much for coming. Red Sunshine says, we put in red flags in the chat for parts of her storyline that would be red flag activities in which you would be suspicious. Yes, absolutely. So whatever, catches your antennas, that to me feels like a red flag. Throw it up if you hear it. So again, he asked her for money again. So that's twice within the 2 weeks of knowing her. And then his birthday rolls around and she asks him, what do you want for your birthday? Now, to me, if you're asking me for money twice, you don't need nothing for your birthday. What you need to do is save your money, get yourself together, and, get your life together. But again, I'm just telling you the story as I heard it. So he asked her for money again. She said no again. And then his birthday rolls around. She asks him what he wants for his birthday. He tells her, and she gives him a birthday gift. Red flag. Thank you, TT. Red flag. Okay. So she gives him something for his birthday. And now, he got the gift, on time on his birthday. Everything is, whatever. And then a couple months roll by. It's her birthday. Now her birthday comes and he doesn't ask her what she wants for her birthday. He doesn't give her a gift. I'm not even sure he called her for her birthday. That's how crazy this whole thing was. Hang on one second. I feel like we're a little cloudy. Okay. Good. I feel like we're better now. I felt like we were a little cloudy before. Okay. So her birthday rolls around. He gives her nothing. So now it's the holidays, Thanksgiving. And so I guess she had invited him over for Thanksgiving to his house. That's a red flag too. Invite her over to the house, and he says, yeah, I'm going to come over, we'll hang out and spend, Thanksgiving together. And she's calling him, she's texting him, she's trying to, find out, okay, you're on your way, are you coming, are you not coming, what's going on, blah, blah, blah. Nothing. She hears nothing from him for Thanksgiving. And then after Thanksgiving, he kind of gives her an excuse, like, I was, busy with family and something happened or what have you. So that's why I couldn't come. But he didn't answer her text. He didn't answer her phone calls, nothing. He just ghosted her. All right. So, like I said, he calls her afterwards. They talk or what have you. And then a couple months roll by again. And now it's Christmas. How we get to Christmas and you miss my birthday, you miss Thanksgiving, you're, spotty when you call and spotty when you text, and, you go missing and you don't answer. And then all of a sudden you pop back up. I don't know how we got to Christmas and she's still dealing with him. But however, that's exactly what happened. Christmas rolls around, they're still dealing with each other, and she makes a comment like, hey, let's celebrate like the 12 days of Christmas. And so the 12 days before Christmas, let's, buy each other like little small gifts leading up to Christmas. And then on Christmas Day, we'll both, exchange a bigger gift. He agrees, she agrees. So now she's going off and she's buying stuff for him, and she's, wrapping stuff for him, and she's making, like little Christmas things for him, and, stocking all this up. I bet you know what happened, right? But let's continue. So now Christmas rolls around and nothing. She's got 13 gifts for him because the 12 days of Christmas and the 13th gift, and he has nothing for her. He has no gifts. He has no big gifts, no small gifts, no nothing. But he's got his gifts, right? So again, I would have been like, flag on the play. I'm not dealing with this no more. And the relationship is over. I don't know how this happened, but we rolling into the next year. And so again, the same themes keep coming up. He's staying at her house. He's, lamping, just chilling. Either she's there in the house with him, or, she's out doing something and he's chilling in the house. And so my thing is, why are you giving this guy carte blanche to your house? Why are you giving him, access to you, to your home, talking to him on the phone, texting with him? Why are you dealing with this? He's already shown you who he is and what he is, yet you are still talking to him, yet you are still dealing with him. I digress. We're going into year 2. And now year 2, more of the same issues, more of the same nonsense. She's dealing with him. And one day, like, he had called her. I guess he had gotten into another, emergency, and he needed her help. So she went, picked him up, dropped him off by his car, because his car, had something, wrong with it. And so it had like a boot on it or whatever. And, she took him to the car, and he was supposed to, have the money to pay it, but he didn't have the money to pay it. Again, she's saying that she didn't give him money, but in my mind, it reads to me and it feels to me like she's helped him out financially, not just with gifts, but I feel like she's helped him out financially in these crises that he continues to have at a big old grown age that he is. So she drops him back off at her house again, porque I don't know why, but she drops him off, and apparently she has like a motion sensor, or those cameras in her house where you can see and hear like all these different things that go on in your house. So once somebody is in there and they're moving around, the cameras will show, and she'll get an alert on her phone, and she can also hear what's going on as well. So she's, at work or what have you, and she sees the motion thing come on. She sees it on her phone. She sees him walking around and he's talking on his cell phone. Apparently, he is talking to another female because he's making plans with her. Like, we're going to go out here. I'm going to do this. We're going to do that. And then we're going to go back to your place and we're going to have sex. So he's talking to her on the phone in her house with her cameras and everything, catching the whole scene. And she is righteously indignant and really upset by this point. She's heated, as she should be, and confronts him and's like, I gotta, just end it with you, because how dare you? You're at my house, you're doing all this stuff, and you are disrespecting me in my own home. You are making plans with another girl, and I thought that, me and you had a relationship and we're going together and we're, building a relationship, and all along you're like dating someone else and you're not telling me. Now, she also says in this account that she was dating someone else as well. So it wasn't like she was throwing all her eggs in this one basket. But to me, again, if you are in a relationship with him and he's been sketchy and he's been unreliable, he didn't get you anything for your birthday, didn't even acknowledge your birthday, didn't acknowledge the Christmas pact that you guys made, didn't give you, any gifts, not a small gift, not a big gift, not anything. And then you're still like dealing with him. Why? Even if you have this other guy who she says, she really, liked and she loved him, and, to this day they're friends or what have you. I'm like, girl, if you got somebody else, let this zero go. Like, why are you still dealing with this? And so herein lies the rub, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm not finished with the storyline in total. I'm finished with this line, because instead of just calling it out and just being like, I'm done or what have you, she takes to social media and she starts putting together this series where she details and goes through like every single day that, she was dealing with him. And I think it was like maybe 7 parts to it in total. But to me, 2 years is too long to be dealing with someone with this type of toxicity. 2, you are introducing him to your family. You're bringing him around your friends, probably. He's not bringing you to anything. He's not, introducing you to family members. He's not introducing you to anything. 2 years this has been going on, and he has not made any inroads to meeting your side of the family, his side of the family, excuse me, but you have made inroads to introduce him and bring him into your life. So you're bringing him into your life, but he's not bringing you into his. Again, that is a no-no in my book. Like, not for 2 years, not for 2 years. I'll give you 6 months. I may even give you a year, but to have this go on for 2 years, he's not into you, sis. He does not want to be with you. He does not see you as a relationship person. He does not value you. He does not respect you. And to go even further, he doesn't even respect himself or the next girl that he was talking to. Because one, you're on a phone with the next girlfriend at your supposedly girlfriend's house, talking about making plans and hooking up later and having sex in this child's house, in this woman's house. Like, who does that? Who does that? Hey, Maritza, hi, thanks for coming. Who does that? Hold, please. Let me take a little sip of water. Okay. So then, like I said, she goes to social media. She recounts all of this. She hashtags him. She, basically, put it on so that people know who he is. And like I said, he's had this repeat pattern of behavior before. So women have come out and called him out on social media several times before. So much so that he has, an online persona and personality, and he's known in these streets for doing this. So when this story came out yet again about another woman, yet again being duped by him and being misled and being basically falling for the okie doke. Once again, he vanishes into thin air, doesn't, contact her anymore. He doesn't, show up and do anything. He's like, incognito right now. And so herein lies because this is not, as I said before, the first time. This probably will not be the last time. And when I start to think about all of the other men that I've seen and heard and talked about and that are on social media doing all this nonsense and stringing women along and telling them, that, they, care and they, have feelings for them, but then show no signs of it, show no remorse when they're caught in something, or when, they make a promise, don't deliver on that promise. They just act like, oh, it just didn't happen, or, this is some things that I have going on in my life, and make excuses and not really taking ownership of what they have done and how they've done and how they've hurt that person. So I'm going to switch to another toxic man that some people might know here in the streets. Like I said, I was on my friend Sugar Love's channel yesterday, and she was actually talking about this. And there's a guy who I guess wants to do a documentary on it, because I'll tell you, this particular man is very, very fascinating, in the sense that you get the sense, although he did have a hard knock life, and I'll go into details about this, what I gather, but toxicity and the level of toxicity of this man is beyond normal comprehension. And it on psychotic and very, very dangerous. So let me begin by saying, what I'm going to recount. I'm going to try to be very sensitive about it, because this is a very, very sensitive topic. And so I want to approach this, really gently, in case anybody has any, triggers or anything like that. I do want to be really sensitive to that. So here goes. So this young man, and again, now he's a man of a particular age, so he's grown enough to know better and to do better and to seek help if he can't manage and can't cope with his anger issues and the like, but has not done so, has not taken any inroads to hold himself accountable and do the steps that are necessary in order to change his behavior. So he was born with a drug addicted mother and father. The father died when he was a young age, and then the mother died years later. She had him, another son after him, and then I believe two older sisters. So he has three siblings in total, two girls and one boy in addition to him. So she had four children before she passed on. The children were parceled out to different foster homes and things like that. And they were in and out of the system all of their lives, all four of them. Eventually, the girls went on and had, lives of their own. They moved away. They started building their lives or what have you. Same with the brother. This young man was just, from foster home to foster home. He never really had a solid home or place that he could call home. And he was really just out there in the streets. So he was hustling. He was homeless at times. He would look to women to like shelter him and provide him with, shelter and money and clothing and all of that. And when he didn't get that from a female, he would go to men and have men do it. Eventually, he went to a male strip club and became a dancer there. And that soon led to prostitution and him going out with men who, would buy him things, take him out, put him up in their homes, give him money, all of that good stuff. So he was basically, as he calls it, gay for pay. So he went on and did this a lot of times, but also would date women. And this one particular woman that he dated, he had a baby for her. And so he was not using protection, having sex with men, having sex with women, got this woman pregnant. So the woman had the baby. It was a son. She named the son after him. And he went and moved into the home. So they were living together with the son. He would still go out. He would still, be drinking and hanging out and probably doing drugs too. And then he would come home and fight with her and, try to, hurt her. So one day she had locked him out of the house. And instead of, dealing with that or leaving and coming back when cooler heads would prevail, he starts stabbing at her tires and flattening her tires. Hey, Delightful Dawn, welcome in. So he starts flattening her tires and, screaming at her to come outside. And he's doing all of this. And for some strange reason, she does go outside. Now, personally, me, I would not have gone outside with this man first stabbing my tires so that they're flat and then screaming at the top of his lungs so that my neighbors can hear, he can wake up our child. That's just not in my DNA to put up with that kind of nonsense. So for whatever she did, and she went outside. And when I tell you, this man started beating on her so badly that he didn't even hear the cops come. He didn't hear the cop tell him to get off of her. He didn't hear the cop and to see the cop pull him off of her. And he says in this video account that he wanted to end her. He wanted to end her. And he almost did. He blackened her eyes. Her lips was raw and bloody. Her face was swollen. Like, she took a heavy beating from him. And he went to jail. And unfortunately, he got out on bail, went back to the home, and this woman let him back in the house with their child that they share together, let him back into the home, only for him to do this again. Now, this man has gone on. He's had multiple children by multiple women, and it's still the same pattern. if he is drunk or if he is high on substances, he will beat these women. He will call them names. He will drag them across the floor. He will, really, really hurt them to the point that they have to go to the hospital. That's how badly they had suffered abuse from this man. This man went on to pull together a cult. I don't know how, because I would never follow something like this, but he got women, men, the like to follow him, to give him money for his church and build him up. He started a commune out in the Caribbean, and he had a lot of people following him. And he was bilking a lot of people out of their money, out of their, 401ks, out of their, savings. Like, he is and will always be a con artist. He started off that way, tricking men and women to buy him things, have sex with them, and continue this cycle over and over and over again. Currently, he is in jail, but he's got a new lawyer. He's trying to get out. He's shopping around his story for this documentary, as I'm saying. And, there's a whole lot more to this situation. And he's done some heinous, heinous things in his time that he's been dealing with these women. But my thing is, and I continually say this, when is enough enough? When are we as women, as sisters, as girlfriends of friends who have been in situations like this, when are we going to say to each other, enough is enough? Enough is enough. When do we turn that corner and say, I'm not going to deal with this anymore? I am too old, too grown, too accomplished, too boss of a babe to deal with this type of nonsense over and over and over again. And I see the same cycle happen to these women. And it's not just that they are lonely and they're, just desperate for any kind of attention. That may be part of the reason, but I feel like it's twofold. It is having to do with, yes, self-respect, but it is also the games that the men play. Because some of these women that have been duped by these types of men are smart, they're educated, they are wise beyond their years, but yet fall into these same traps. Yet and still they fall into the same type of cycle where these men are allowed to rule over them, to manipulate them, to make them do things that are not outside their norm of doing things. And they're allowing them to really change who they are, change who they know themselves to be, and I can't say for certainty that they're not, apt at manipulation. They're not apt at, telling you one thing or making you believe one thing, and instead they're doing another. Because there is some manipulation to this, and there is some, type of grooming that they do. But there's something about these toxic men that they pick a certain type of woman who they think that they can manipulate or just, say certain things or do certain things, do just enough to kind of string them along so that they think they're in a false sense of security, that they're in a relationship with this person, when in fact, this man is probably dating several other women. And in both cases, these men have dated several other women. Hey, Wiley. Hey, Miss Wiley, thank you for coming. Hey, James Money, I see you too. Welcome in. So check the pinned comments so you know what I'm talking about. But it is a common recurring act that these men pick these types of women, and these women fall for these types of antics, when all the while, like your inner sixth sense always knows something is up, right? Women have a sixth sense like no other, you know. I remember when I used to watch Scandal back when it was on TV, and Kerry Washington used to always say, as her character as Olivia Pope, always trust your gut, right? Because your gut knows what's going on. And every time I stopped listening here and started listening from my gut, it has never steered me wrong. So I want to empower women to really trust their gut, to really trust their sixth sense, to really take ownership of themselves, because in 2024, we should not be inviting men to our home straight off of knowing them for a couple of weeks. You should not be, entertaining any type of behavior where they're already asking you for money or for rides or to come to their home and hang out and stay at their home. Like, none of that should be taken into account. The first stages of getting to know someone and you guys, possibly building a relationship is talking, is having conversation, is meeting out for coffee or for dinner or for lunch or what have you, and slowly build a relationship. Also, know who you're getting into. Know who that person is. So if you have a friend circle, ask around your friend circle. If y'all met and y'all from the same hometown, somebody knows him in the area. Everybody knows somebody. There's always 6 degrees of separation. Say to your friends, hey, I'm dating such and such. I want to know, like, have you heard anything about, him? What do you know about him? What friends does he have? Who does he hang out with? Like, start to get some information on who this person is. And that goes for men with women and women for men. Understand, you have a right to ask questions and to probe and to find out if this person is somebody that you want to let into your life. I do not let people into my home. I do not let people into my inner sanctum of my life. I do not allow people to just, tell me any okie doke without doing some investigative work myself, without checking and verifying and seeing what's going on. And in the first case of the first story time that I told you, that young lady did not do that until it was too far gone. Like, he had already, conned her into birthday gifts, conned her into holiday gifts, disrespected her, didn't, call her for Thanksgiving, didn't, even say, hey, I'm busy, I'm doing something with my family, I'm not going to be able to come over. Like, he gave her nothing. He paid her nothing. And that to me is a lack of respect. And if somebody cannot respect me and respect my time and respect my boundaries, they're not allowed into my life any longer. They're not allowed into my personal life. I'm not going to continually feed this when I'm not getting back what I deserve and what I demand from a relationship. And I just want to understand why this is not happening universally, especially in light of everything that we've heard from Diddy to even Drake and his like toxic relationships. Like, all of these celebrities have these toxic traits, like all of them do. And all of these men, like, we've had experiences, and I, certainly had my share of toxic men in my 20s, and even, a few in my 30s, that I'm just like, lesson learned, lesson learned. And so when I encounter that again, I trust my gut and I say, you know what? This is not for me. This is not for me. So I want you guys to sound off and tell me what you think about this. We've had some red flags in here. I think I counted 7. Was it 7 red flags? Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, wait, 7, 8, 9. Wait, my TT threw in 3 red flags. So we've got a lot of red flags and a boot. Yes, red flag and a boot. Absolutely. Yeah, there was some desperation there, TT. Definitely. I feel like on both sides, like, why are you, trying to hook up with this girl that clearly you don't have respect for? Clearly you don't want to have a relationship with her if you're talking to other women too. Why not just say that? Why not just, be a straight shooter, pa-pow, call it like you see it, and say, hey, I like you, but I'm not sure if I want to be in a, committed relationship with you yet. Let's, just continue talking, continue, just, having conversations back and forth, but let's not make any commitments. That's fair to say. And then let the woman decide whether or not she wants to either deal with it or not. But when you are putting falsehoods out there and you're putting out this air like she's the one for you and you guys are together, and you're giving her these signs like you guys are together, and you're like forging a relationship with her, but yet you're doing some, F-boy stuff around the corner and down the block and across the street with this, that, and the third, you're not being true to her. You're not being honest with her. And you're really not being honest with yourself. And so it's okay to say, I'm not that into you. But I feel that there is a dependency there that you have to keep stringing these women along because you don't want to be alone. And so you will, as they would say, monkey bar. You know how, you used to grab onto the monkey bars one after the other, so you don't fall down. I feel that way, that certain men monkey bar in relationships and grab hold to whoever is receptive to their BS, whoever's receptive, whoever, is giving this any energy or any time, they're going to continue feeding this along until she's had enough and calls it out. Hey, Maritza. Oh, yes, he did. Oh, yes, he did. Yes, red flag. Legendary Beauty. Hello, gorgeous. How are you? Yeah, child. Yes. Can you believe that? And they're both two true stories. Red flag again. Yep. Hey, Delightful Dawn. Welcome in. Yes. All right. Let me see who else is saying something. James Money, I see you. Yeah, rough stories, right? So here's the thing, babes, that I want you guys to weigh in on. For the ones who threw up the red flags, I want you to answer this question. For you, when you heard the story, where was your first red flag? Let me know when your first red flag was. Because for me, I'm going to tell you what my first red flag was from the story. My first red flag from the story was her inviting him over to her house, and she's not properly dressed to receive guests. She was cleaning her house, and that's fine. You want to clean your house, you want to have your booty cutter shorts on, you want to have, your t-shirt with no bra, that's fine. But don't invite a man to your house that you don't know and wear that kind of stuff. Yeah, and even before that, you're right. Borrow money was the first red flag. Okay. But even before that, give him the address. Yes, that to me was the first red flag. Why would you give him your address? You don't know him that long. You haven't known him long enough for him to come popping up at your house. And now that you've given him your address, he's free to pop over whenever he feels like it. That's not appropriate in my world. That's not healthy. That's not safe for women. I had a guy, one time we were talking on the phone and we were conversating back and forth, and we were having great conversations on the phone or what have you. And, he said, hey, I want to, come and see you. And so I was like, okay, cool. When you come, you can stay at, a hotel, and then I'll, hang out. We'll go to dinner and hang out, whatever. His response was, oh, I thought I was going to come over to your house and we were going to hang out at your house. And I was going to stay there, not go into a hotel. And I'm like, excuse me, but I'm a woman who lives alone. And at that time, I had children. So why would I allow you to come to my home? And we just started talking. Like, you cannot know my address. You cannot be at my house. You are a stranger still. You are still a stranger. I said we can go out, we can hang out, and then when, the dinner is over, the lunch is over, what have you, I go back home and you go back to your hotel. That's what I'm talking about, hanging out and getting to know each other, not you coming over to my house and hanging out at my house and staying the time that you're in town at my house. That's not appropriate. It's not unless she was looking for that. But at the end of the day, he's a stranger. Yeah, like, okay, if that's what you want, if you want, him to come over and y'all want to, do whatever, you're consenting adults, that's fine. But then don't be like taken aback when he makes a sexual innuendo and you open the door to your home with, short shorts and a t-shirt which, exposes your breasts and shows him, what you're working with. Don't be shocked by that, because guess what? You invited him. You had time to change your clothes, finish cleaning or whatever, and, just hang out with him. But you chose not to do that. There was even a particular situation where they were going out to this picnic. And so here's where I say it would be another red flag for me. So if we're going to the same picnic and you were there first, and I said, okay, I'm going to come, later on with my girls. And then I come, and when I come, you're leaving and we're trying to get to know each other. But as soon as I come, you're leaving. That to me is a red flag. That to me signals that you didn't want people who were at this gathering to know that you and I are talking. That to me is a red flag. I didn't mention it in the story, but in hindsight, I think that to me is another red flag. Like, why would you leave? Especially if we're trying to get to know each other. Why would you leave? You not knowing my address, yeah. Or even if you know it or find it out, I'm not inviting you. Yes, exactly, Ray of Sunshine. Like, I don't understand why that was even open for discussion, debate, and fodder. Like, why would you come come here? Why would you do that? Why would you tell him where you live? Especially if you guys haven't established any type of rhythm where you've seen him multiple times, you feel at ease talking to you. Already had red flags, sis. He's already asked you for money. He's already like shown you like what his character is. Like I just said, he was at a event with you, and as soon as you come, he like books out. That's when I would have been asking around, like, hey, do you know him? Do you know him? Okay, because we're talking and I just wanted to know like what you know about him. Like I would have been asking the questions that day, like what's going on. And had she done that, she would have saved herself a lot of heartache because like I said, he has been known for doing this. He has a reputation for doing this. He has put out there in the world multiple instances where he has done this to other women, and other women have called him out on it. So any Google search would have come out and you would have known it. Any type of, talking to people, and especially if he is Greek or if he's Masonic or what have you, that's 6 degrees of separation in and of itself. So if you're talking to somebody who's Greek, chances are somebody else who's Greek knows him, have heard of him, and has some type of understanding about who he is. They've heard it, they've seen it, they've read it, something, so that they can tell you at least some baseline about this person. I've had it happen to me multiple times where someone has asked me, hey, do you know so-and-so? And I'm like, stay away. Back off, back off, back off. Ray Sunshine said, Bella said, show what you working with. I had a flashback of the mythical song, and mystical most definitely not invited with his friend. Yes. When people show you who they are, believe them the first time. Believe them the first time. Hey, Terry. Good evening, BGB. I'm busy these days, but I'm glad I could be here now. And we're glad to have you. Thank you so much for coming. Listen, when people show you who they are, believe them. Because this pattern of behavior for both stories that I told you are reoccurring themes. The only thing that's changed is the women. But it's been the same thing over and over. Mystical's jail record is long. Unfortunately, we're cheating to that last story time, I think. Yeah. And even going so far as to say, like, Diddy, like, I wasn't surprised by all that came out. And I told you that before when it first came out. I'm not surprised. I know people who have dated him. I know how he is like as a business person, and I know what his temper is like. That's the reason why we called him Puppy in the beginning anyway, because he would, huff and puff and like, throw these tantrums and, really, have these bursts of anger that seemingly came from nowhere. But as you come to know him, you know that he's had substance abuse issues, he's had drinking issues to excess, and when people are on those types of substances and they have a volatile temper, it's like a Molotov cocktail waiting to explode. Those combinations do not mix well together. And when you are in a relationship with men like that, 9 times out of 10, it is going to be toxic. It is going to be toxic. So I try my best to always ask those questions and to find out things about their lives before I get too invested in whatever situation. And I feel like women are so quick to jump into relationships and jump into these situations without understanding who these people are, not, sharing bits of your life and not bringing me around your friends, not bringing me around your family. You can tell a lot about a man by who he keeps company with, how his family dynamic works or doesn't work, and how he reacts in certain situations. If he is an excessive drinker, if he is an excessive, smoker, or he does drugs, those things come with looking and probing and asking the right questions and really taking stock of who you are spending company with. And once you do that, that gut will tell you, no, this is not it. This is not the one. And when you see his circle of friends and you see how they act and how they respond to their girlfriends and their family members and things of the like, then you see, okay, this is not something that I may want to have in my life. Because if he is rude and disrespectful to his mother or his family members or his children's mother or mothers, as in both of these cases, and you don't ask the questions like, how many kids do you have? By how many, women do you have these kids by? Do you have a relationship with them? Do you take them, on the weekends, or do you spend summers with them? Do you spend whole blocks of time with them? And they, say, no, we don't have, a great relationship, or nah, I only see the kid, once in a while, or, whatever, or, I only pay child support. I don't see them. Those are all red flags, my friends. Those are all red flags. Those are all things that in and of itself is a red flag. But when you build on top of it all of the sneakiness and cloak and dagger of the relationship, then you have a recipe for disaster there. Then you have something that is not beneficial to you as someone coming into a relationship with this guy. And so I really wanted to share this with you, to share these story times with you, to say to women and to men, if you recognize these signs in yourself, if you recognize this behavior, if you know someone who has gone through this, or if you're sitting there nodding your head like, wow, that hits home. I know XYZ who's done some stuff, or I know, I have a girlfriend of mine who's going through XYZ, then take them to the side. I'm going to tell you right now, no amount of talking to these men or to these women, if the women are in toxic relationships or the women are themselves toxic, no amount of talking to them will make that cease. What will happen is that person needs to be introspective and say, you know what? I have a pattern of behavior where these women that I date or that I talk to, they always call me out on social media. They're always saying that I don't do this and I don't do that. I have relationships with some of my children's mothers, but there's some other children that I don't acknowledge, that I don't see, or I pretend like they're not even there, that I don't even have this son or this daughter. I only acknowledge some, but I don't acknowledge all of them. Those are all toxic relationships that you need to understand is a warning for you to stay away and for that person to get the help that they need. And it's only until they acknowledge it and they want to do the work and try to change the behavior that the behavior will ever change. right? So if you look back and you see, hang on, I'm going to go backwards on the chat to our first red flag in this story time. So when you go back, okay, I think, yeah, I'm at the first one. So you go back, you see these red flags in the chat, right? And you say to yourself, wow, these are a lot of red flags. These are a lot of issues that are coming up that I don't know what's going on, but this is a red flag. This is a red flag. These are red flags. Like constantly, right? I told you to put up red flags every time we see it. Here in these stories, bam, you see how many red flags throwing up? You see? You see, it's a reoccurring theme. Now imagine that in multiple relationships, over and over and over again, the same reoccurring theme happens constantly, right? You need to check the behavior. You need to check in with the behavior. One, do an introspective of yourself and say, hey, there are too many red flags here. I need, for my own sanity, to pull away from this. And if you find that you can't pull away from this, then maybe you need to seek a professional counselor who can advise you on how to pull away from this. Thank you so much, by the way, for saying that. Great activity and engagement to check understanding. Yeah, because I really want to help solve this, because I feel like as men and women in 2024, we keep hearing this same situation over and over again. Here it is, on the celebrity level with P. Diddy, and we talked about Mystical, with these two men, the reoccurring themes of anger and abuse. And, even if, the first scenario that I mentioned wasn't physical abuse, there's a lot of emotional abuse there. There's a lot of selfishness there. There's a lot of not caring for that person. And when you're in a relationship, it's a lot of give and take. Relationships are a lot of work. They're a lot of give and take. And, sometimes, one person, gives a little bit more than the other person, but you always have to come together and say, what can I do? How can I show it? And love and caring and being mindful of your partner and being aware and more receptive to their feelings and, just being there for them shows up in a lot of different ways. It can show up verbally, just telling them. It can show up in acts that you do, and kindness. Now, okay, if you don't have money and you don't have, the things that maybe your other partner has, there are other ways that you can show your affection, show your love, show your caring, show how much this person means to you, that you don't have to quantify in dollars and cents. There are things that you can do that are acts of service, that are kindness, that are, just service of love, things that you can do for your partner to really show them that you care. But in both of these scenarios, none of that was done. None of that was even broached by these men. They feel that they can do and say whatever they want to do or say, and there are no consequences to their actions. They are not held accountable for the things that they say and the things that they do. They just continue to do this with no remorse whatsoever. And that's got to stop. That's got to stop. I saw something from TT. Hang on a second. So TT said the men in our family would never do that. They are respectable men and they don't want anybody else to disrespect us. Absolutely. And when they find disrespect in somebody, they cut them off. They cut them off. They're not friends anymore. Because, if you can do that to the woman you love or the man you love, and you can snake them, you can do this kind of foul things to them, then what does that say about you, right? What does that say about you as a person, that you would continually hurt and do these things to the person that you're supposedly in a relationship with or that you so-called care about? You know what I mean? Hi, Angelina. Guess who's back? Hey, my dear Bella. How are you? Hello, everyone. Hold, please. Yes, thank you. Welcome back. Hey, Lucy. Hey, darling. Thank you so much for coming. All right, everybody saying hi. Yes. Wonderful. Or if a man called me the C word, they would feel my rap. Yeah, I mean, talking disrespectfully, allowing other people in your family to talk disrespectfully to you, and you not checking that behavior is also a sign of disrespect. That, to me, is saying, I will allow my family to say whatever they want to you because, one, I secretly want them to do that because I'm chicken-ish and I can't do it myself. So I'm going to let my proxy do it for me. And that I don't have any respect for you. I don't value you as a partner. And hey, again, that's fine. If you don't want to be in a relationship, call it out. Pow, pow. I'm a straight shooter. Just say, I don't want to be in a relationship. I don't want to have this relationship. Or I want to see other people. Or I want to have sex with this woman. Okay? And do that. And let the woman decide, hey, some women are cool with it and say, hey, we have an open relationship. You go off, do what you want to do. I go off and do what I want to do. When it's time and we want to get together, we can do that. There's some women who are okay with that. I'm not one of them, but there's some women who are okay with that. So if you are honest with the woman and just tell her what you feel and how you feel, she may say, okay, hey, fine with me. And then she could have gone off with that guy and felt no remorse about it. He could have gone off and, had his bills paid by the next woman who probably was a sucker and paid it, because if she didn't pay it, I'm quite sure, the other girls he was talking to, they were paying it. So he was getting, the money somewhere. But you have a job. You make decent money. Why can't you keep up with your life? Or, pare down if you can't keep up with the lifestyle. Pare down to what you can afford to do. And say to this woman, instead of, leading her on thinking she's going to get birthday gifts and Christmas gifts and see you, during the holidays and stuff, say, hey, listen, I don't have the money for it. I'm, working on this, or, I'm buying a house, or whatever the excuse is. Tell her that. Don't string her along saying, yes, we're going to do XYZ for Christmas, and then don't deliver on that promise. I can't stand that. When somebody makes you a promise and then reneges on that promise, it is persona non grata to me. I'm just like, no. And so for me, if I say to you, hey, I'm going to go and hang out with you, and then, I, get to the time, or, the days are coming and I feel like, yeah, no, I don't feel like going out, because I do that. I will say to the person, hey, listen, I just don't feel like, hanging out tonight, or I don't feel like going anymore. So, find somebody else, hopefully, to go out with you. I'm not going to be able to do it. And just be honest. Be honest. Be upfront. Just do that. Like, I don't understand. I don't understand why people can't do that. Let's see what Angelina says, she says, what's with the toxic relationships and how many people glorify those relationships? I partly blame Jerry Springer's show, RIP, for the impact, but also the people today for not wanting better. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of factors that go into that, Angelina, and thank you for your comment. I think, it has to do with that person. Maybe it's self-esteem issues. Maybe it is, just wanting someone in their life. Maybe they're lonely and they will accept just anything for the sake of having and keeping someone in their lives. And, when I heard this young lady's account, I kind of got that feeling that, she might have been by herself for a while and thought, hey, this guy, he looks nice. He talks a good game. The red flags are coming up, but I'm going to ignore it because I really just want to have a relationship. But at what risk to yourself are you going to continue on this path? Because you're ignoring your inner gut and your feelings. You're ignoring the red flags that tell you that this is not a relationship that you should invest your time in. And he is actively showing you that he doesn't care enough about you to keep his word, to keep his promise, or anything of the like. And then to add the cherry on top of the disrespect, you're going to be in her house talking to the next girl about the hookup and about, meeting her later and taking her out to dinner and what have you, and doing all this stuff. And then y'all having sex later. You making a hookup in my house where I can see you and hear you, Negro? Like, who does that? Who does that? Who does that? Bella, is my baby around? I miss Baby Dream. Oh, Baby Dream is downstairs in her room. She had her dinner. And I gave her a bath yesterday, and she was up here playing all day. So she's downstairs winding down for her bedtime. My TT says, I remember my oldest granddaughter introduced her boyfriend to her uncles at Doc and Jackie's house. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Could it also be that people are scared to be alone? Yeah, absolutely. Scared to be alone. They don't enjoy themselves by themselves. They don't enjoy their own company. They're permissive of dysfunction. They will have, for the sake of saying that they are in a relationship or that they quote unquote have a man, they will settle for a fraction of a man that's worthy of their time, because that man is not worthy of your time. You know this. We know this. You saw it in the chat how many red flags came up when I was saying, put a red flag whenever you hear something that to you signals, this is not a relationship I want to continue. And the red flags were just flying up as I was talking. And you know that this is not something that you want to continue. And when a man puts their hands on you to hurt you physically, to me, that's a non-negotiable. That's a non-negotiable. I don't care if you say to the cows come home, baby, I'm sorry, baby, I'll never do it again, baby, whatever. No. I will not stand for it. I won't. I value myself too much, and I hold myself accountable for too much to let someone physically or mentally tear me down. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And so when I hear it in other situations, when I hear it, displayed out in social media once again by this same person, I'm like, no. At what point do these women say, listen, I don't want to deal with this. I don't want to deal with you and this situation. Or when you're asking the questions and you're getting back answers that make those tiny little hairs in the back of your head kind of stand up, then that's a warning to you that this is not right for you. This relationship is not right for you. And in the first case, it was a lot of mental abuse. It was a lot of times where broken promises and broken plans were made and not went through to fruition. It just, whenever I have time for you, I have time for you. That's what that first story told me. Whenever I feel like I want to make time for you, I will. And so I'm just like, that's not a relationship that I want to be in. And that shouldn't be a relationship that anybody wants to be in. The man should be wanting, needing, loving to spend time with you. You should not have to ask him when you're coming to see me or when you're, going to call me, when we're going on a date. You should not have to ask, because if he's interested in you, he's going to make his interest known. He's going to let that be known. He's going to make you a priority in his life, just like he does his friends, just like he does his family, just like he does anything else. He will make you a part of his life if he wants you in his life. And so if that's not being done, that's your story right there. That's your ultimate red flag right there. If he's not making the time to get to know you, especially in the first blushes of the relationship, because the first 3 months, the representative, the person you are before all the facade starts wearing down, because men can't keep the facade up for so long, right? Eventually it starts crumbling down and stuff starts happening. So the first 3 months, he should be whining and dining you and talking your ear off and finding out your likes and your dislikes and what you love and what you don't love, what your hobbies are, what your passions are. He should know you inside and out, so that as you are dating and as you are, in a relationship, he knows what to do. You don't have to ask him. You don't have to question it. It's already done. That's when you know that you have somebody that's worth keeping. Let me get back to these comments because I did see a couple. Angelina says, my sociology class I took in community college changed my life. This became more aware of how the way that people are and they love is tied to their traumas and their upbringing. Absolutely. Learned behavior, nurtured behavior. Absolutely. My TT says the fellow got scared because they needed to talk to him about how to respect her when they go out, if they go out. Absolutely. As well, they should. As the elders, when people come out, and the younger ones come and date or whatever, you should definitely be telling them, this is how you should be treated. You should always demand to be treated a certain way. You should always, have a man, when he's, taking you out and he's driving the car, come out, get you at the door, bring you to the car, open the car door for you, and treat you like a lady. Always. I miss when you say, hold please. All right, I'm actually going to say that right now because I want to drink of water. So, hold please. Yes. So the disclaimer was because I was talking about serious things in relationships, like, abuse and things of that nature. So I just wanted to make sure and level set that this is an adult stream and we're going to be talking about adult topics. So you'll see that pop up from time to time when I'm discussing something as serious as this. So thank you, Angelina, for that and that comment. Terry says, I've always given the best version of myself in a relationship when I'm in one. Yeah, absolutely. You should always strive to do that. And, sometimes we fall short. Sometimes, I can get selfish. I'm a Virgo. So sometimes I can get, into myself and reserved. And, I really enjoy my own company. Like I can stay up here in my beauty room literally all day and have done so literally all day, not speaking to anyone, but dream literally all day. I enjoy that. I love that. And then when I'm done with that and I want to engage, then I engage. So finding a partner that respects your quality time that you need for yourself, but also respects the time that your partner gives you so that we can, have conversations. We can get to know each other better. You can hear about my day. I can hear about your day and we can just talk. That to me is the definition of quality time because I don't like to mince words. I'm very careful about what I say and how I say it. And I really want to be present when I need to be present. I want to be present for my girlfriends, for my sorority sisters, for my partner. I want to be present when I need to be present. And when I need to have my own alone time and when I need to be introspective and just find out, do a check-in on Shannon and her heart and how she's feeling, how she's doing, then I take that time and I do that. And I feel like in these relationships, especially when these men and these women are monkey barring from one relationship to another, that they're not taking that time to do that introspectiveness to find out, why do I keep attracting the same type of man? Why do I keep attracting the same type of behavior? Why do I keep, knowing that this is the behavior, knowing that this is probably what's going to occur, why do I not stop it before it gets to that point where I've got to put them on blast, where I've got to disengage from everything, where I've got to, let you go from a relationship, or, we've got to get a divorce, or, we got to get separated because it has come to that level that we can no longer communicate. We can no longer, be in a relationship because you're on one page and I'm on another, where you're abusing me and taking me for granted and verbally assaulting me or physically assaulting me to the point where I fear for my safety and my sanity and my sense of worth. Like, why isn't that paramount in all relationships? I really want to understand that. Angelina says, I agree. The man should want to spend time, but these males nowadays, many of them have too much of an ego to be honest and vulnerable. I have so much to say about this. Yeah. The fact of the matter is they have not done the work with themselves to understand that this same pattern continually happens. Like in the first story, this is not the first time, and I said it probably will not be the last time that this guy is put on blast for the behavior that he has displayed, because he has done this time and time again. And just when you think the coast is clear and it hasn't happened in a while, boom, it pops up yet again. So at what point do you say it's not the women's fault? It's something in me that I continually do this stuff to women, that I continually seek, one, women who will fall for this type of behavior, and two, when I see that woman who is vulnerable enough to fall for my BS, why aren't I man enough to say, you know what? I'm going to hurt this girl. I know I am. So instead of hurting this girl, instead of doing the F-boy stuff that I'm going to do, why don't I back out of this? Why don't I say, you know what? Let's not, let's not get into a relationship. Let's be friends. Let me, work on myself and figure out, what I want and what I need, because you continually fall into these dysfunctional relationships and this dysfunctional behavior. So nothing is going to change unless you change it, unless you man up, pull your big boy panties on or big boy drawers on, and figure out why you keep making the same mistake over and over again, time and time again. Why are you continually doing this same cycle of abuse? Because you're not only just abusing this other person, you're abusing yourself. You're abusing yourself because you're diminishing your potential of what you could be, because you're so focused on doing this F-boy stuff that you don't honor yourself enough. You don't respect yourself enough to make that change. All right, checking one more time to see what's going on. And she says, yes, Shannon. Yeah. I mean, you know me. I'm a straight shooter. Pa-pow, pa-pow. Call it like I see it. I call it like I see it. Lucy Warren's World says, if a man ever threw a single hand or punch at me, we're done. Yeah, no. Everybody has, I think, their non-negotiables and the things that will absolutely, positively end a relationship. And that to me is one of mine. Like, no, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not going to allow you to use me as your punching bag, because you're not man enough to deal with your own behaviors. If you're not man enough to understand that when you drink to excess and you do drugs or whatever, that is a combination that makes you explosive and angry and lash out at the people you claim to have feelings for. I'm not your punching bag. I am not going to allow you to disrespect me in that manner. Not happening on my watch. Not happening. And because I've had scenarios where, there were friends in my life that we didn't even know had this going on, that to me, my antennas are always on high alert. So when I hear something like that, or when I see signs that I didn't even notice before, but now having gone through certain situations, I now know what those signs are. I am not allowing myself or people in my life to go through that. I'm point blank telling you right now, no way. And if you see it happen, you need to tell them, go and see someone and talk to someone, because this is not healthy behavior. This is not going to be a situation that will eventually work itself out. It's not going to be that way, because if they're doing it to you once, they will do it to you again. There's no amount of sorry that's going to erase what they have already done to you. Angelina says, I don't know if males are that introspective, especially since males are generally conditioned to be the pursuer in any scenario. I get it. But at some point, everybody's bells and whistles have to go off. If every 2-3 years you're on full blast on social media where the other women who are chiming in say, yeah, I know him. Oh yeah, he does this and he does that. And I was in a situation, or I know a girlfriend who was in a situation where he did da 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 da. Like, it is a reoccurring theme. At what point do you say, listen, they're talking about me and my behavior. I gotta stop this. Like, aren't you embarrassed for yourself? Aren't you embarrassed? You have children, young children, older children, children who read the internet, who can Google, who can find out this mess. And you cannot take stock of what you are doing and change your behavior? I don't get it. I really don't get it. At some point, you got to be ashamed or stupid. It's either one of the two. I'm going to try to give you the benefit of the doubt because in the first scenario, I actually know this person. So I'm trying to say that, okay, you show at least some embarrassment because you pull yourself off social media. And for the most part, you've kept yourself off social media for the most part. Every now and then you might pop up on something, but mostly you keep yourself out of like the Facebooks and TikToks and all of that stuff for the most part. But if you continually do the same behavior and women are continually putting you on blast, it's no longer just the women. It's you, bud. It's you. It's you. And unfortunately, with this kind of cycle of behavior, eventually the law of averages are going to prove out, and you're going to run up on somebody who will either snap and lash out or has family members who might lash out. And you have, like I said, you have kids, you're a grown man. Stop doing this stuff before something seriously happens. And again, I'm not putting that out in the atmosphere. I'm just playing law of averages and calling it like I see it, straight shoot up, a pow, pow, pow. One day, somebody's going to catch you on this BS that you are doing and this, cycle of abuse that you keep reenacting in all of these different women, and are going to not only call you out, but do something about it. It's bound to happen because this behavior continually happens. Somebody's going to hit their point of no return. And I just want to avoid that from happening. I want to put it out there in the universe to really take stock of what you are doing and how you are hurting people and how you are misrepresenting yourself to the point where nobody's going to want to deal with you. Nobody's going to want to have that type of person in their life. So you need to start making some changes here. You need to start course correcting your behavior so that this stuff doesn't continually happen before something very serious happens. Angelina says, the sad part is there are probably a lot more males who are guilty of serial and chronic abuse towards women and others who have been getting away with it for decades. Absolutely. 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 But I don't want to put all the heinous on men, because women have this toxic behavior as well. There are women who, like I said, know inherently that this man is not right for you. No, they see the warning signs. They see it. They see it clear as day. It's like blinking at them. No, 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 no. But yet and still, they still stuff it down and say, I'm going to be in a relationship anyway, whether it is, the sense that, oh, I'm going to be the one that changes him. I'm going to be the one that, his behavior is going to be different because of me, because of who I am and what I bring to the table. He's going to be different. He's going to show up different from me. No, sis, unless he's done that work for himself and wants to show up different for you and wants to do things differently for you, it's not going to change. You are never going to change a man's behavior. You're never going to do that. A man has to want to change his behavior for himself because he sees the damage that he has done and he wants to put a stop to it. That's the only way it's going to stop. The only way it's going to stop. They've been getting away with it for decades. They've been doing this stuff for decades. They have been raking women over the coals for decades. And at some point, it's got to stop. You've got to come to the realization that this is not healthy for you. And especially if you have children, if you have young children, it's not healthy for them to see this. in a relationship. Okay. Black love should be beautiful and should be evolving and growing and nurturing and understanding and kind and warm and inviting. It should reinvigorate you every time you see that person or you talk to that person. It should be like a renewal. Wow, she's got it. Or wow, he's got it. Like you feel that rush of excitement and love and caring. You want to show up. You want to be that best person for that person. Not because of them, not because of who they are, but because of who you are when you're with that person. You want to change. You want to grow. You want to be better for yourself so that you can be better for them. There you go. And that's my 08 cents, Angelina, for the last comment. The harsh truth is that those women who think that they are special enough to change a man, the truth is they're not special at all, because a person will only change because they want to. Yep, that's what I just said. They're only going to change when they want to, when they feel like, you know what, enough is enough. I want to be better. I want to learn different behaviors because I don't want the same type of results to continually happen. I want to show up as my best self so that I can give my best self to my partner. That's it. All right, babes. I'm trying to keep this under an hour. I'm about 15 minutes away from the second hour. So I want to stop it there. Thank you all for coming in. Yes, babes. We are all special. Absolutely. So I want you guys to take what I've said to, if you missed the first part of it, rewatch it. And hear, as I'm talking to yourself, hear your inner voice say, okay, where's the red flags in here? Oh, there's one. Oh, there's one. Oh, there's one. Listen to how this scenario plays out and see how many red flags you spot. Some more than others. Absolutely. Oh, thank you for having this space. So thank you for listening. I always try to bring something to the table for my babes. And, this has been sitting on my heart and I really wanted to share with you all. Yeah, we do have a lot of catching up to do. Absolutely. Brigade, extra special. Mwah! Yes, indeed. I have witnessed a few of my former male friends hit their girlfriends. It sickened me. The friendships were over after that. Yeah. How can you be with a person that does something like that? Like, I can never be with a person that does something like that. I can never be in a friendship with someone who does that. Because what does it say about me that I'm allowing you to have that kind of behavior? What does it say about me? What does it say about our friendship? One, that you even do that around me. And then two, that you think that that's cool. That's not cool. That's not how you show your respect to a lady. Understand this, physicality is a real thing. Physically, a woman is weaker than a man. Okay. I know, Titi. I know. Everybody give a birthday shout out to my Titi. Her birthday is this coming Tuesday. So y'all throw in some happy birthdays to my Titi. Listen, I'm going to be real succinct because I did say I was going to leave. But you need to understand that you can't hit a woman like that. You can't abuse a woman like that. Both people, yes, both genders should keep their hands to yourself. Yes, that's the basics. But men especially, if you can't deal with it and the discourse or the discussion without putting your hands on a woman, you need to remove yourself from the situation. Yes, everybody say happy early birthday to my Titi. All right, babes. Thank you so much again for watching. Thank you so much for listening. For those who are just catching it, please rewatch it and see for yourself how many red flags you noticed in the story time. Hey, Mr. Fulton Mars. Hello, Bella. Hello, everyone. I have a big announcement. My mom is going to be nominating me for Athlete of the Month of Special Olympics. That's wonderful. That's wonderful, Mars. Congratulations. All right, babes. Until next time, you have now been Bellafied. Mwah. Take care, and I'll see you back here soon. Bye.